Intro music.
Come on in.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
They have acquired Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. from the White Sox in exchange for James Shield.
Welcome to Slam Diego. My name is Joey.
My name is James.
And this is the Brothers Padres.
And on this week's recap episode, the week of August the 6th, it wasn't, for the first time, it seemed, for a long time, it seemed like it was a positive week. I don't know about you, but it seemed like a positive week.
Yeah. This is actually our first non-500 episode in 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago could be 500 as well. We don't know yet. We haven't finished that game yet.
Exactly.
Could be over 500. We just don't know yet. But yeah, this is our first over 500 week in 3 weeks, and that felt nice.
It felt like it's been a long time.
Yes.
It really has.
How you doing, James? What's going on? How are you feeling about Padres baseball before we jump into it?
This Padres baseball was good. I actually got to go to 2 games this week, so
yeah,
that's a first for me this year.
And I went to 1 game, and it wasn't the same game you went to.
I know. It was awesome.
The Brothers Padre represented well this week.
Yes, well, at least I did.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into it.
We'll get into that.
Shall we jump into it, James?
Yes, please, and thank you.
Game 1, the Arizona Diamondbacks come into sunny San Diego, and they proceed to beat us 8-5. The Arizona Diamondbacks had 8 runs, 12 hits, 1 error. San Diego Padres had 5 runs on 8 hits on no errors, on the backs of a very bad Ryan Weathers start.
Yeah.
3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, and Craig Stammen came in and couldn't seal a deal either. Yeah. Diamondbacks had a big second inning, third inning, and then had a massive 4th inning that we should probably talk about.
Yeah, Ryan Weathers, I think he's a bullpen.
So let's save our Weathers comments till the last.
To the very end. It was...
Spoiler alert.
The thing is, like, the first couple innings, we were.
I mean, we had 5 runs in the second inning, so we felt pretty good.
We felt pretty good.
Trent Grisham had a nice 2-run homer,
and then they had the Diamondbacks proceeded to have 8 unanswered runs, and the 4th inning was one of those weird, where are we living right now moments where the Diamondbacks had 9 singles in 1 inning, and they weren't hard hit balls. No. They were like dribblers down the line. They were little duck snorts right over the infielder's heads. It was just like Ryan Weathers was getting grounders. It just wasn't at people, and it was just non-stop, these little dinky singles. And it's just see one of these things almost every year. It's always painful to watch, unless you're the team doing it.
Yeah,
it's very funny and you love it. But when you do it against you, like how did that happen?
Yeah.
Where's the leprechaun casting his spells?
Yeah,
is that how leprechauns work?
No, leprechauns don't cast spells. They have pots of gold.
Oh. But aren't they mad? No, who cares? Magic, gold, and cereal is all I know about leprechauns. All right.
Yeah. I took a Charlie Brown walk after that inning around my complex. It was not good. I was like, I can't watch this game. It was terrible. That inning was just... Baseball is not a fair sport sometimes, and just because you have good skill doesn't mean you get it. But also, like, they got lucky, but Ryan Weathers just... He's just. We'll talk about it in the next game, but he just didn't. He could have gotten out of this inning.
He could have. He definitely could have. It was a tough loss, but things picked up rather quickly.
Matt Strom came in for his first game back. Pierce Johnson
looked great.
I mean, in general, like the bullpen did the bullpen thing, except for Craig Stammen. Craig Stammen got more of that residual unluckiness, but
he came up to mop up, and I think the bases were loaded. And again, there was just this dinky little single. And they cut to Manny Machado. You weren't watching this time, but he was just rolling his eyes like, I can't handle it. This is so irritating.
So we lost that one, James. Let's hope it never happens again. San Diego Padres on Saturday, August 7th, 2021. Welcome back to Snakes, James. And you were in attendance.
I was in attendance. I was sitting in deep left field. Shout out.
Was this the game that you went multiple places or just one place?
This is the one place.
Okay.
We started out, my friend Kevin Parker, shout out to Kevin Parker, although you don't listen to my podcast. Bit hurtful. Anyways, he hooked me up with a ticket in left field. We sat with a bunch of friends, and it was a great game.
The Padres rolled off with Yu Darvish, and he proceeded to win. Padres won 6-2 on 6 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. The Diamondbacks had 2 runs, 5 hits on 1 errors. But Diamondbacks, we got a run in the first, James, which was awesome. Manny had a solo home run. They're like, this is great.
It was a good home run.
And then Haas a solo shot in the second, but Darvish allowed a 2-run home run in the second, and I was kind of thinking, oh shoot, this is one of those Darvish starts where he allows too much home runs.
Brothers Padre fans, if you watch the highlight of Eric Hosmer's home run and it dinks off the foul pole, if you look to the top corner of the screen, you could see me.
Blurry James, the top corner of the screen.
I'm the one in the Padre hat.
Oh, okay. That's very, very helpful. Very helpful. But Darvish, after that one miss homer gave up, pitched 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned run, 12 strikeouts, James.
At one point, he was on pace to strike out 22 if he pitched 9 innings. It was one of the best dominant performances I've ever seen. And then I was sitting with all my friends, like, he's on pace to strike out 22. Now he's only 21. And then the Diamondbacks proceeded to have 3 little weak grounders one inning where Yu Darvish only pitched like 4 pitches, and it was like, I was upset with the Diamondbacks. They couldn't just take one for the Padres, you know.
The Padres had a good. So it was 2-2 up until the bottom of the 8th, James. Diamondbacks pitcher Tyler Widener pitched a good game. But then, the Padres offense kind of woke up. Manny RBI single. Grish had a base loaded walk. And Aaron Nola, not Aaron Nola, that's his brother, Austin Nola.
I would like to have the other Nola. It would be nice to have a Nola set.
A battery, a Nola battery.
That would be pretty great.
That'd be cool. Austin Nola has a good 2-out single. He had a very good week this week. And so we got a 4 spot in the bottom of the 8th. And, we found a way to win, and we won.
6-2. It was a good game.
I'm glad that this note I've added a note on the 8th inning. That was kind of like a doomer note. I try not to add too many doomer notes, but for the sake of the Brother Padre, I will disclose this note. A doomer note is something you predict. I put it in the notes that will happen. And because I just am so down on the Padres that I'm going to put this in there and it's going to be true. I'm glad it's not. The note I added was, supposedly the Diamondbacks have the worst bullpen in baseball. Could have fooled me with keeping us scoreless across 10 innings. The stat is true, but we did run a 4 spot on them. So the sentiment is
10 innings up to this point.
Yeah, that's right. The sentiment is not correct.
Yes, exactly.
I want this Yu Darvish every day I see him because that was awesome. Shall we move on to the next game, James?
Game 2. Yes, we shall.
Game 3.
Game 3, that's right. Game 2 of a positive note.
Yeah. San Diego Padres welcome the Arizona Diamondbacks into a game versus Blake Snell versus Madison Bumgarner. 2 lefties.
That's fun. Crafty lefty versus an old crafty veteran versus an young stud Cy Young Award winner. Madison Bumgarner had a Cy Young too, right? 2 Cy Young winners.
I actually don't think he's ever won a Cy Young.
Oh, anyways then. Blake Snell, as everyone knows, has been struggling this year, but has had a couple of good starts, and
this was one of them.
This is the best one.
San Diego Padres beat the Diamondbacks 2-0 on 2 runs, 8 hits on no errors, and the Diamondbacks had 0 runs, 3 hits on no errors. And Blake Snell pitched 7 innings, 2 hits with 13 strikeouts. That will play.
And it was a truly truly devastating. Like, he was dominant beyond belief. It was that, like, oh, this is the Snell that won a Cy Young.
Yep.
This is the Snell. And at the end of the game, they said, what happened? What your pace was up? And he goes, yeah, Manny Machado told me just pick up the pace. It's taking too long. It was okay. I'll pitch faster. And I think that works because he didn't have enough time to overthink everything, and he was just dominant beyond belief. And the funny thing is about this. Sorry to interrupt. Jake Cronenworth, sole provider of all the offense in this game.
Awesome. In a game in which no Tatis, Jake Cronenworth provided some power. Solo shot off Madison Bumgarner, and the first inning, Adam Frazier doubled, and then Cronenworth singles. Yeah, he was the RBI guy.
And when you have a pitcher throwing gems like that, it's amazing. What my note I wrote in this game was, it's upsetting when you see a pitcher as good as Bumgarner.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he has such a weird contract with the Diamondbacks. He's untradeable. That guy should be a number 4, number 5 starter for a winning team. He pitched 7 innings as well, only allowing 2 runs.
Yep.
That is a quality start, but he's just happened to be playing for the worst team. It always bugs me. It bugs me when you see a Padre, back in the day when you see a Padre, like, why are you still on our team? You're too good for this team. Diamondbacks going to be a bad team for a long time. And Madison Bumgarner is still a good enough player not to be on a bad team.
Yep. First time Padre history, James. We've gone back with 12 plus strikeout games.
Back to back
with Snell and Darvish. And Padres combined to strike out 18 hitters this game.
Yes.
That will also play.
18 strikeouts is a good day at the ballpark for the pitching staff.
James, gone, the Snakes, and we welcome back into town the nasty, stinky fish, James, to which I am referring to the Miami Marlins.
It's okay because Joe Musgrove made sushi. Oh, snap. That was terrible.
You finally stooped to my level.
Yes.
Happy about that. The Padres welcome Miami Marlins into town. Joe Musgrove takes the bump against Zach Thompson.
Second game I was in.
That's right. You were in this game too. And Joe Musgrove said, no, I'm Joe Musgrove. The Padres win 8-3 on 8 runs and 9 hits. And then the Miami Marlins had 3 runs on 7 hits. No errors across the board. Joe Musgrove pitched 6 innings, 5 hits with 8 strikeouts. Zach Thompson, who did very well against, in general, the Marlins starters did very well against us last time we saw them. Did not do as much well this series. Allowed 4 hits and 4 runs in his 4 innings of pitched against the San Diego Padres.
Again, dominant game. It I can't. It was fun to be at. Mm-hmm. It was, I said it was. Padres went 8-3. We scored a bunch, 4 runs in the 8th inning. I think the Padres definitely listen to our podcast. They have to.
I think it's at this point obviously
they do.
Clear.
Because earlier in the season, I was saying, there were other innings to score in, but the 7th inning. Yeah. Obviously, they heard that and said, "How do you like the 8th?" Like, okay. Runs are runs, but so clearly they're like, "Oh, James thinks he's being funny. I saw he scored the 7th inning. Yeah. Let's score all of our runs in the 8th this week." It was a fun game to be at. Like you said previously, I switched seats halfway through. Well, after the first inning, I got some really cool seats right on the third baseline, 3 rows back. And the same friends from earlier rented like a box and a little like bar area. And they told me they're in a game. I went and sat with them again. So I got to hang out with friends twice this week. Other than Joey, I do have a social life.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
We have to give out a shout out to Hosmer, who at this point, the reason why we're saying they listen to us is because Hosmer's turned it around. He's definitely been way better. He's batting .400 since July 1st. We talked about it in the last episode. He had a solo shot this inning, this game, a big single later. Yeah, I mean, it's very obvious that they listen to us. And we won't talk about this guy enough, but like Adam Frazier has been a great addition to this team.
Absolutely.
It's hard because he doesn't hit home runs. He doesn't usually get big hits, but he gets on base a bunch and he has great defense. And it just like that lengthens the lineup. Like there's never every inning against the Padres is tough. With him.
He is. I love him. I love slap hitters like that. He's very Tony Gwynn-esque in the fact that
right.
He's just going to get on. He's going to be a tough out, and he's just going to get on. And yeah, he might not have a bunch of RBIs. He might not have, but he'll score more runs than he'll knock in, and he's just a nuisance. And he'll drive a pitch count out. I love him.
Leads all the majors in hits, and that plays.
That definitely plays.
As I said, he had an eighth, Machado double, Hosmer single, Myers single, Grisham triple, Caratini slack fly brings us to an 8-3 game into the ninth. An old friend, Austin Nola, comes in. He hasn't pitched in over 2 weeks. What does he do, James?
You mean Austin Adams?
Whatever. This is too many people named the same thing. Too many bearded white guys named the same first name.
I don't.
If you
okay. I can't tell if that's racist, but you yourself are a bearded white guy.
Yeah, I can call out other bearded white guys.
Okay.
That's not.
All right, that's how it works? All right. Okay.
That's how it works.
All right. Yes, and he struck out the side. Is that what you want to go with?
Austin Adams, man, if he's like that, I don't know. It's just so Austin Adams is so crazy to watch because otherwise, sometimes he just comes in. You're like, no one's going to hit anything.
He hasn't pitched in about 8 days since we played the Marlins again, and it's very. Maybe he was dealing with some, soreness or something. No, the thing that he was dealing with is he knocked the guy in the head, cut him open.
Put the guy on the injured list.
And he was clearly shaken. And his next performance after that, he was still shaken. So the Padres politely let him get his head straight for a week. Yeah. They didn't put him on the DL. He just wasn't used. Whatever he did to get his head right, he did. And it was clearly, it's more proof to me that the Padres are all great people.
There it is.
Because clearly, Austin Adams is a great man, sympathetic, saint-like.
One would say, yeah.
Because he was so deeply emotionally impacted for hurting another human, he had to take a week off. I'm just saying, Austin Adams, unlike my brother, I love you for being a bearded white man. You are a good person. You keep being you.
From afar, could you tell a difference between Austin Nola and Austin Adams?
No.
Yeah, there you go. Moving on to game number 5. Tuesday, August 10th. San Diego Padres welcomed the Miami Marlins into town. It's a bullpen game, James, versus Braxton Garrett, who had an incredible game that was aided by Doug Eddings. I don't know if you remember that last time. But San Diego Padres say nay, 6-5, 6 runs, 12 hits, no errors. Marlins had 5 runs, 12 hits on 1 error. And like I said, it's a bullpen game. We used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pitchers to win this game.
It was worth it. Mark Melanson pitched a 4-out save. That was cool. And like I said, last time we faced this guy was a Doug Eddings game.
Yeah.
Which was the worst umpiring I've ever seen in my adult life. And young life. Which is my life. Let's just go with that. This game was almost the exact opposite. This was probably one of the better umpired games. Ben May is his name. And again, I had to look up his name because if you're causing problems, you know the person's name. Never heard this guy's name before. So they produced these little scorecards for umpires. His overall accuracy was 95%. Average is 94%. His overall consistency was, again, 95%. And the average across the league is 96%. Which is great. And the thing that I liked about his umpiring is the consistency.
Yeah.
Pitches that were outside the strike zone that were called a strike were a strike every time, every pitcher. It was a consistent strike zone, which means the hitters and pitchers can adjust. Perfectly fine. I'd still prefer an electronic strike zone for there's no room for error. But he was on point, and it was just refreshing to see because you have in the back of your mind, oh, we haven't faced this pitcher since the Doug Eddings game. Worst human being alive, probably a Dodger fan. Definitely a Dodger fan. Anyway, so that's what I thought.
And on the scorecard, he was given they determined via the bad calls how it affects the game. It affected the game by giving a 0.04 run to the Marlins, which is to say it had no effect on the game.
Exactly. And we won the game.
Right.
So
Right. Craig Stammen had a rough first inning. He started the game with 30 pitches. We allowed 3 runs in the first, but we responded in the bottom of the first. 2 runs with 2 runs in the bottom of the first, and then another run in the bottom of the second. And we were down 4-3, but we responded with 2 more runs in the fourth. And then, it was a good back and forth game. It's one of those games in which you're like, it's a fun game to watch because just like back and forth. It was tied up again in the 7th, but then Austin Nola, bottom of 7, gets the lead and run 6-5. And then, we close it down. It was a well-planned bullpen game down to the last pitcher. Emilio Pagan was the only one not open. I mean, he supposedly wasn't available. Mark Wentz had to come in for a 4-out save because Drew Pomeranz left with left forearm tightness again. I don't know about
I next time we hang out with the Padres, because we do it all the time.
Yeah.
We got to show Drew Pomeranz how to stretch, Just do those old 80s stretches. There are more advanced stretches, Stretch that arm out a little bit. If it's tight, you got to loosen it up more, buddy. I mean, I'll show you how. I'm a professional.
Mark Melanson got a standing ovation recording his first ever sacrifice bunt.
That was first ever at bat.
Yeah.
His first ever major league at bat, and you could tell here is a player that's had 14 years of experience in the game of baseball, has taken BP for some reason 1,000,000 times, and he was running. He's like, okay, I put for here, and he dropped the bunt. It was a beautiful sacrifice bunt, and all across, obviously on the big screen. First career at bat, dropped a bunt, got standing ovation, and it was, this is a guy who's been practicing this exact stance and bunt for years, and you could just see years of practice. So beautiful. Very, very beautiful. And he didn't have any other way. He didn't have any other psychological, well, I can do it this way, make it better. No, this was just format. They could cut every image of that bunt and show it on a page how to drop a bunt.
Yep. The final game of our recap, James, a game in which I brought it was a family day, My family came in, and
husband, wife, and daughter. It was the idyllic American dream.
Yep, showed up.
50s postcard-esque.
And I was like, you know what? The Brothers Padres are a good luck charm. So I will end this week of recap game with a good one. The Miami Marlins come into town and beat us 7-0 on 7 runs, 12 hits, no errors. The Padres had 0 runs, 4 hits, no errors. On the back of, yet again, a bad Ryan Weathers start. Ryan Weathers allowed for 6 earned runs on 4.2 innings pitched with 7 strikeouts. So it was a little weird. He could strike people out. He just didn't. Lewis Brinson put the bean on us this game. And, I had fun at the stadium. I did not have fun watching the product on the field at the stadium because it was Sandy Alcantara is a very good pitcher. Dude throws 99 to 101.
He leads all of Major League Baseball with the most consistent high-speed fastballs. He throws he's not the fastest thrower in the league. That's still Jacob deGrom, but he throws the most consistent 99 miles an hour than anybody else. He throws more 99 mile an hour fastballs than anybody in the whole league by miles. The next closest was Garrett Cole, and I think he's thrown 100 more 98-mile-an-hour fastballs than Garrett Cole.
Dude's crazy good, but
he might be the next Jacob deGrom on our hands.
Marlins, rightfully so, did not want him to be traded, and you see why. He's very, very good.
He's a future All-Star Cy Young candidate, definitely.
Ryan Weathers can't be doing that. Cannot be allowing tons of runs, tons of home runs. And this was not an unlucky game. I will say that much. He let up home runs. He allowed doubles. It wasn't a great game by him. He gave us length, I guess. 4.2 innings pitched. I suppose it's better than nothing. It was rough, and it leaves a lot of question marks on his role going forward, because it seems like if the Diamondbacks and Marlins can hit you, the book is probably written on how you pitch.
I agree, and I love Ryan Weathers. As you know, we've adopted him as our son. It's hard to see him do this, and also he also is a lot like Blake Snell. He looks like he gets too much into his own head, and it seems like he likes getting people on first just so we can pick him off. The dude hasn't done the best pickoff move in baseball, and he's picked off 10 people so far this year.
He picked up another person this game. Yeah.
This game, yeah. And it was... It seems like everyone knows just not to... either he'll get the first 2 strikes, and then you can get a hit off him. You know? Yeah. He doesn't have a put-away pitch. He has plenty of good pitches. He just... for whatever reason, wants you to chase, and then you don't chase 2 pitches, and then he throws one down the middle, and you hit it. I don't know.
Giving up 3 home runs immediately erases the 7 strikeouts you have.
Exactly. And all of those home runs, I believe, were on 2 strikes.
It felt like it.
It felt like it. It might not have been, but it did.
I'm not gonna say it wasn't this way, but Lewis Brinson, people have been like, I can't believe Lewis Brinson was traded for Christian Yelich. It was part of the package going back to the Marlins for Christian Yelich. Lewis Brinson has incredible tools. He actually has a potential to be a very, very good player. I'm getting beat by him is not a bad thing.
And however, I was in left field and he was the left fielder, and he was also probably the most, because the Petco Park people, left field is legendary for picking on left fielders, the opposing left fielders, just to throw them off the rhythm. They don't say anything mean, but they try to make him laugh. Lewis Brinson was a riot to watch out there going against them, and he would purposely not throw balls to them, and it was really great. He was joking with them. They were joking. And when he hit a home run, everyone stood up and bowed to him. It was a fun game. He's a fun player, and he definitely has a lot of high-end tools.
But I mean, it's one of the things, you can't give up three home runs in a game and have 2 back-to-back horrible starts. We'll probably talk about that in our next episode, about how the rotation looks after this. But and I found out a disturbing fact in this game.
What's that?
Well, we should also talk, before we get to that, Daniel Hudson made his debut.
Oh, yeah. After being traded and being on COVID.
Walks in a run, loads the base, walk. Very bad. I'm going to chalk this up to being out of practice.
Being out of practice.
I'm just going to forget about it.
Yeah, you have to. You have to think that the whatever the key piece that we got for our bullpen just hasn't been fresh. You have to.
Yeah. James, there has been 3 I'm going to call them the worst losses in Petco Park this year, and I determined that by amount of how bad we lost. Number 1 being 15-5 against the Washington Nationals. Number 2, we were 1-10, beaten 1-10 by the Diamondbacks, and then this game 7-0. James, I've been to 2 of those games.
I've been to 1, and that was the one with you. So
it was the worst one,
15-5.
Now, admittedly, it could have very easily been 15-2, but the Nationals chose to use their worst reliever of the night, and the Padres didn't give up. So
that's true.
It was still the worst one, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely could have been worse.
I'm not saying that the Padres should pay me not to go, but I'm just to full clarity. I don't have a large ticket pack. I just have I haven't gone to. I've gone to over 10 games And, we're going to play 40 some odd games this year. And so, yeah, not great. Not a great record so far.
How many times have they lost?
Let me see. I think I've seen them lose 3 times. I think I've seen them lost twice with you. One was a Corbin Burns game. And with Lamette got hurt. And then this game, and then the 15-5 game. Yeah.
Every game I've been to without you, we win. So, Brothers
That's
Padre.
not true. That's not true. We went to a Cardinals game and they won.
I know, but every game I've been without you, we've won.
Oh, yes, okay.
So, Padres, if you want to keep winning at home, hook a brother up.
James, as you know, we make predictions about the following week. And you said it'd be 5-1 this week.
I did, yes.
And I said 4-2. It ended up 4-2. And that makes it the first time we were right in a long time.
Your Excel spreadsheet doesn't go that low?
Yeah, it's 11 weeks ago we were right.
Okay.
I'm not saying we're bad.
To be fair, you were right. I haven't been right once this whole week.
No, you've been right. You were right on week 5. You were right on week
5.
Yeah. I was right 3 times. You've been right once.
Okay.
So we look forward to next week. Next 7 games. It'll be 7-game one because we'll be playing 4 games against the Diamondbacks and then 3 games against the Rockies. They'll be both away, so that'll be an added element. It'll be 4 games in the I can't think of its name. What is it called? Is it Chase Center?
It's Chase.
No.
Big bank. Big ugly.
Whatever.
It looks like a toaster. The toaster in the desert.
Yeah, toaster in the desert for 4 games, and then
The moon.
The moon. We're playing on the moon for 3 games, which is Coors Field. So what are your predictions? You want to know some predictive pitchers? Will that help your prediction?
Yeah, Darvish is starting tonight.
Darvish versus Widener. We beat up Widener the other day. And I would assume, I'm gonna assume next day is the same. Snell, Bumgarner again. That'll be fun. And then it'll be Musgrove and TBD, who I've heard is a very good pitcher.
It also sounds like a disease.
Yeah. All
Now, you or a loved one suffering from TBD?
Sunday's game will be Zach Gallen versus a Padres pitcher undetermined. And then I assume on Monday will be, Weathers. And then it'll restart again. So Darvish is on Tuesday and then Snell's on... Darvish would be on... Darvish would be on Tuesday and then Snell will be on Wednesday. In Coors.
So the thing is with predicting... The Diamondbacks are one of the worst teams I've ever seen in my life. It's true they have Bumgarner and he's going to be a tough... But we're going to beat him. I was trying to explain to somebody doing one of the games I went to this week. The reason why the Rockies were it's hard for them to be the worst team in the league, the division, because they still have to play half their games at home.
Right.
And when you play in the Thunderdome, when no rules of physics, apply, you can still win half of those. You could put the current Rockies team against, the all-time 100 best baseball players, like the 25 best baseball players of all time, up against this current Rockies team, play 50 games, the Rockies would still win 25. That's just how crazy that. All that being said, though, it's really hard to win 4 games in a row. I think we'll lose 1 to the Diamondbacks. And it doesn't seem like we've ever swept in Colorado. We probably have. I just again, Thunderdome. We'll probably lose 1 to the Rockies. So I'm saying 5-2 next week.
5-2.
I also, the big question is our pitching staff. And after your predictions, I want to float an idea by you.
Okay. So I think I'm more confident in your prediction in the Diamondback series than I am the Rockies series.
You never you always think the Rockies.
I think it's a symbol of man's arrogance. We put a team in Denver, Colorado. It is it wasn't like when the expansion draft happened for the Colorado Rockies to be part of a team. It wasn't like astrophysics weren't invented then, right? Like, it's been around for a bit, right? We've known about how, hey, if you're at higher elevations, things go farther. This is a common thing that people knew about, even before the Colorado Rockies existed. But no, we decided, hey, let's have these professional athletes be conditioned in a place that thins your blood out, that you can hurt yourself, you get cramps a lot, and that's a chaos. It's a complete chaos element. And
on top of that, if you hit a routine pop-up, it can go a mile. And so they said, here's how we're going to counter that. Let's make the outfield huge. So now it's just a double zone. So if you do happen to get a little dinky hit, it's more likely to be not caught. So it's disastrous.
I think Colorado, you should have 10 people on the field.
10 defenders.
Yeah, I think you get an extra defender.
DD, designated defender.
Defender, so floating fifth infielder, floating fifth outfielder. I think we're gonna be. I think we have to take 3 and 4 from the Diamondbacks. I think we have to front load this because Fernando Tatis Jr. Remember him?
I do.
He's been out of commission for 10 games. Is supposedly going to be activated this weekend against the Diamondbacks, and when he gets activated, it's always a fun game.
He comes back ready for bear, and he always hits home runs.
Yeah. He hit 3 home runs against the Diamondbacks earlier this year in one game, and I think that'll be a good catalyst. So I'm going to say 3 or 4 against the Diamondbacks. It's hard to win 4 games. It's hard to beat a team 4 in a row at their own stadium, regardless of how bad they are. And I think we're going to lose 2 against the Rockies. I think it's going to be 4 and 3. And it makes me a horrible fan. I get it. Okay.
It's because you've been hurt by Colorado before.
Oh, I mean, Blake Snell's awful in Colorado.
He really is. And that's why I know.
So it might be I think it's a day game in Colorado. He's in a pitch. He's a very bad day game record.
This week he wasn't.
Oh, it's a night game. If it's a night game, then yeah, I think it'll be fine then. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to keep it. That's a prediction. I'm okay being wrong. Yeah.
So you're saying 4 and 3. I'm saying 5 and 2.
Yep. And
the thing I was going to talk to you about, there's no doubt that the Padres need starting pitching.
Yep.
I've never said that. I've never thought I'd say this, but we need Chris Paddock back. And that's so weird to say. Why? This is my thought. The last couple times he's pitched, I've seen this. Why isn't Reese Kinnear starting a game again?
He should.
He's been pretty good. I
think the walks are an issue, which it gives everyone pause because he walks a lot.
True. But he was pretty dominant against the Diamondbacks and my mind just blew away. Marlins. Good Lord. Anyways, he was pretty dominant against both those guys.
Yep.
It's been the bullpen game, and earlier he came out of relief in the first game. He should start. He's a starter. He can go. He can throw. The most he's thrown in the minors is like 97 pitches.
Yep.
He can do this. I would rather see him.
I don't know if there's much options, to be honest, unless we sign Jake Arrieta, who just got DFA'd from the Cubs because he's very bad this year.
Yeah, he is.
And you don't want to get a very bad pitcher pitching in Colorado.
No,
that's the wrong rehab start.
Correct.
I don't know, man. I think it's going to have to happen because I don't know who else we have. You know, there is a couple arms in the AAA that could be okay, but they're not nearly as good as what we need in the back end of the bullpen, back end of the rotation.
No.
Yeah, the 4 and 5 games are going to be struggles going forward. Yep.
But
that's baseball, baby.
It is baseball, but we're still going to win.
Think about like this is good teams have the same problem. That's why that's people at the beginning of this year, everyone's like, "What are the Padres going to do? They have too many starting pitchers." And now we're like, "No, we don't."
Yeah, we don't have any starting pitchers. Well, we still have the 3 best. Right. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but we don't have
After that,
4 and 5 matter. Like today's game against the Dodgers Phillies game, right? The Dodgers threw out a bullpen game. And they lost 2-1. It just these kind of things matter, and it's just tough. Every good team can run into a crunch late in the season.
And there's been so many pitcher injuries this year.
Oh yeah,
more pitching injuries this year than any other. And we don't need to rehash this, but there's no doubt it has to do with the new ball. It has to do with the stick acceptance ban,
longer season.
I am tired of the longer season thing.
I think it's the confluence of all those.
It could be, but the thing is, like, we had one short season. All these guys and all the trainers are used to training for a longer season. It's the sticky substance ban. It's the change of the ball, the weight of the ball, the grips. People are gripping it. Just a hair difference on your grip can add just a little bit more stress on your arm. There's more Tommy Johns this year so far. They said as many Tommy Johns just this year than the past 4 years. That's nuts. Yep. Combined.
Yep. Unless you're Dr. James Andrews out of Houston. He primarily does a lot of the Tommy John surgery. I bet he loves it this year. Yeah. But he's killing the Tommy John surgery game.
Killing Tommy John surgery. He owns stock and Rollins baseball on their board.
How funny would that be if it's like all these like Tommy John surgeons going together? Like, we got to buy Rollins. We got to fix the ball. we got to stay in business.
Oh, evil.
No one spread that conspiracy. That's not a real conspiracy. Maybe it is.
The Rollins ball.
We're on Spotify, James. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter at Brothers Padre. Give us a follow. I occasionally post fun stuff. You occasionally post fun stuff. And we have a fun time. James, we'll have another 2 episodes next week. And we'll look forward to it, won't we, James?
Definitely.
And until next time, James, go Padres.
Go Padres.
And there it is! Oh, doctor! You can hang a star on that, baby!
From afar, could you tell a difference between Austin Nolan and Austin Adams?
No.